All righty, everyone. Welcome to the first Pipeline podcast of 2026. We are starting things off on the right foot. So today we are here to talk about the service to profit blueprint. What does it look like to maximize a customer's lifetime value? So today joining me, I have Evan McGinnis. Some of you may know him as the closer, and Brittany Chambers, who's honestly spent a lot of time building brands, even helping us a lot here at Mr. Pipeline. So welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, so happy to be here.
Hello.
The biggest thing we want to talk about today is, a lot of home service business owners, they might spend thousands on advertisements. They're generating a lead generation database of customers. But then are they really speaking to them again? Like, what is the lifetime process of initially getting that lead to closing that job, and then even what it looks like thereafter? So Evan, from a sales perspective, working directly with so many of our clients, what do you have to say about this? Like, are there any insights? Are there any pointers to, sort of maximizing a customer's lifetime value?
I mean, yeah, I got a few that I can come up with. So first and foremost, your marketing brings the customer to you for the first time, right? Sure. Hopefully if you keep marketing going on and on and on, and that customer forgets about you and they see you again, sure, that could work. But your marketing dollars are spent to generate new business. Then it's your job, your automations, your team's job, however you want to look at it, to nurture that client for the remainder of, let's just say, life. To keep them coming back to you for business, right? So it's not just, if you just close a job and you have no follow-ups, you do the job and you just let it just go and hope Mrs. Jones just keeps your business card in a drawer full of 500 other business cards, then there's a chance that you're pretty much not going to hear back from her. You may, but you definitely want to put things in place. So, for example, never leave a house without a reason to come back. Right. So when you talking to Mrs. Jones, figure out a way to come back, right? Whether it's a upsell opportunity, whether it's walking her around her property to say, hey, Mrs. Jones, let's take a walk to see what else there may be on the list of things that, you could be doing in the future. Maybe we set up a plan so it's easier on you financially and we're not trying to do all this work at one time. So like I said, like you go there, you get the job done, bam, I fixed your problem, Mrs. Jones. Thanks so much for hiring us to do this. Hey, while I'm here, since we offer, let's just say, for example, gutters, right? Hey, Mrs. Jones, we just hung your gutters. Everything's good to go. Let's just take a walk around real quick, and then you can have a talk with her. Hey, Mrs. Jones, we offer a maintenance plan or like an upkeep plan, however you want to word it. We'll come out to you on a quarterly basis, clean your gutters, check all the work we've done, make sure, everything is still intact. And this creates the longevity of the life of, let's just say, your gutters, keeping them clean, making sure they're just being checked. In other words, a better example, I would say, thinking about this would be like pressure washing, right? You get called for, let's just say, a driveway cleaning. Let's say you see the house, right? You're a professional. You can just look at a job and know exactly what's right or wrong. We do it in our world. So, hey, Mrs. Jones, the job's done. Everything looks great. I would love to walk you around your property to see if there's any potential jobs we can get you on the books for. And then you do the walk around. Mrs. Jones, you see all the algae up here. Hey, what if you're in an HOA neighborhood, right? Everyone's getting letters all the time. Pretty much try to find other upsell opportunities or plant a seed, in other words, to maybe for a future job, right? And then now if that seed is planted, now maybe for this particular client, Mrs. Jones has her opportunity for some more washing. You planted the seed by walking around the house for her. And then now your automations that you should have set up, whether it's, quarterly text messages, emails, just follow up for reviews. Now you have a better opportunity of getting that job. Or getting another job from that client because you took the time to do the walk around and pointed out other issues where she doesn't realize maybe those are issues. She just walks outside and sees her driveway is dirty.
Yeah, I think there's something you brought up earlier on when you were making your point as well, where you're talking about like the generating a lead and thinking of it as like, a lead and just that particular job. But when we're talking about moving that mindset from service to really focusing on profit, a lead has to be looked at as more than just a lead. It's not that one-off, right? Like there's upsell opportunities, but then talking about lifetime value, how often do you plan to do work with that person? Like getting the lead one time is one thing, doing the service one time is one thing. But what I can say from having worked hands-on with a lot of home service businesses is one-off services will not sustain your business. You
No, it
can't
helps pays bills that one time around, but you got to nurture that lead.
right. It'll get you some revenue, but when you're talking about sustainability from an operational standpoint, you need profit to drive your business to being sustainable and having a solid foundation. And so you have to kind of, first of all, there has to be a mindset switch from thinking of it as just a lead to how am I going to turn this into a customer for life? Right. And like that's the first place that I feel like it has to start if you're talking about profits and you're talking about moving from just being another service business that comes out when somebody calls. It's beyond just thinking about lead generation. That's the first part of starting the business. You got to get your foot in the door, but it's the thereafter. I feel like the magic of sustaining the business happens.
Yeah, no, you gotta keep that customer. You spent the money to get him as a lead. You close the job. Congrats. You got to do what you got to do to keep him on board. I mean, for the future.
And it's cheaper to upsell a previous client than it is to sometimes generate a new lead, right? So that attention to detail is going to be so important for sustainability. So, and then something big I want to talk about is, staying on the top of mind to a customer, right? So this is one of the most powerful things you can do in a business. So Brittany, how do you create a memorable experience and have homeowners always thinking of you when they're in need? How do you always stay at the top of mind?
Yeah, so we're moving into a world where like there's automations, right? And like every business that wants to be in the game long term has to be thinking about what can they automate. Automating the predictable parts of your business allows you to save room to really put the humanized, dazzling effects on the other portions of it, because that's how you take somebody from doing a service with you one time to wanting to stay with you for however long, for life, right? So one of the things that I think of is, first, do people trust you enough to solve their problems that they keep calling on you, right? First, you have to master the first part. When you go out there, you got to do good work. A lot of people kind of overlook that. And good work is more than just being skilled at whatever your labor is, right? So you can be a really skilled pressure washer. You can be a really good skilled gutter installer. You can be really skilled in the roofing industry, but there's other parts of dazzling the customer, right? You have to be good at communication, and that is something you can automate nowadays. So if you find that there are loopholes in your communication, it's taking you days to get back to the customer if they ask a question. There is no reminders that you're even coming out to do the work, so it leaves them the mental strain of them reaching out to you to figure out, wait, are you still coming today, or are you supposed to be coming tomorrow, and like what time is it, so I can know. Right, those are things you can very easily automate in your business, and those are little parts of your customers' experience that makes them feel like, okay, this is a professional company. I'm just not working with some guy or girl who can get the job done, but I'm working with somebody who cares, right? And like I can lean on and trust them to show up when they say they're going to show up, and I can trust that if I reach out to them or need to communicate, they're going to respond. And I think that that's a small portion that people often overlook in business because there are so many parts of business. But I think starting there, automating those things that have to happen, you have to communicate with the customers, right? So start by automating that, and then when you're at the property, kind of to go back to the point Evan was making, while for you on a business and it may be an upsell, right, or like additional revenue when you look at someone's property and you as the expert can see, yeah, you called me out to clean the driveway, but your house needs to be washed. You're going to get that HOA letter soon. Now where you're going,
they coming for that.
Yeah, right? Like you as the expert, you need to poise yourself as the expert. So when you approach that situation with the customer and you're thinking of how do I build trust with them, you're not approaching it to say, hey, I'm out here already and I just washed your driveway. I could just wash your house for you. As a regular homeowner, that doesn't work. I don't understand why you need to wash my house. That's not what I called you out for, right? Like,
explain.
Yeah, you have to start by giving them the value. Hey, Mrs. So-and-so, or hey, Mr. So-and-so, I just finished up with the driveway. I wanted you to come out and take a look at the work. Let me see, make sure that you're happy and satisfied with it. they're dazzled in that moment. They're really happy with you. Maybe even explaining a little bit of your process. You know, you had some algae that was on there, so we had to use a specialized chemical or specialized system to really get it off. And what we did is we went ahead and we protected and sealed your driveway so you don't have that growth happening so quick. Now, something to be aware of is it's going to regrow, right? Because nature and our environment. What I would advise is you get a routine pressure clean happening on your driveway every 6 months. Now, I do know that this is an HOA neighborhood, and I do notice that there are some algae stains growing on your windowsill, and at the side of your house, there's quite a bit of staining happening. Now, I don't know if you've gotten a letter yet, but I know some of your neighbors are getting letters, and typically this is the time of year that your HOA is thinking about these kind of rules and regulations. So since we've already worked together, if you do need somebody to wash the house for you, I'm available, and I'll even give you, you know, some sort of incentive to continue to work with me or let me do the service, right? Or depending on your schedule or the homeowner's schedule, could you do the service right then and there and that be an additional upsell? But all you're thinking really is the trust factor and the value. I'm going to trust somebody who shows me their expertise and shows me that they have me as a homeowner, my best interest in mind, more than just somebody who comes, shows up, does the work and goes, right? So I think that's one of the biggest things that you
relationship building is huge. I mean, just look at us, look at our clients, look at our reviews, look at the feedback, look at what we share. The relationship between us and our clients is something that when a client reaches out to us and we give them a response back, they don't even question it because they know the trust factor is there. Obviously, not everything is perfect. Obviously, there's give and takes in situations. You know, some people are gonna be like, nah, I don't want you anymore. You did your job, go home. Right. So again, build a trust.
It won't be a slam dunk every time.
Yeah. Leave killing with kindness at the end of the day. I mean, relationship building between customer, owner, business owner, whatever, it's massive. Even me being a homeowner, like when I call somebody random or whatever, my lawn guy, he's like my friend now. So I like when he's here, I bring him out some water from time to time. I check on him. You guys want anything? You know, it's nothing special. But when it comes time that they need to come do something, I'm like, hey, Raul, would you mind trimming that tree, that my little palm a little bit real quick? It's yeah, no problem, because he knows that I personally do the extra step for him. And then when they did some other bigger work at the house, I bought lunch for him, whatever I could within my budget, of course. But I built that relationship with him, knowing what I know as for what I do. So now he takes care of better me.
And that's the thing, just showing up and doing the job, that's the bare minimum requirement for being a home service business owner. Like how many of you
do that
have
part.
worked with somebody? And that's the thing, is like, how many of you guys have had somebody work on your house and you actually know their name? Like, that's so huge. Like,
Raul is my man.
How is somebody going to refer you if they don't know you, right? And that's the biggest thing, right? It's going above and beyond, keeping yourself at the top of mind. And there's so many powerful, CRMs out there. Sure, we can generate you all of the leads, then have them coming in, but it's like, are you organized? Do you have little notes for each customer and maybe their pain points? Like, why did they choose you over somebody else in the first place? That's, you're going to keep that customer for the lifetime of your business.
I love backtracking to something you said earlier real quick. I love the text message in like my own personal life. Doctor's appointment, someone's coming to the house, Jax has got to go to the vet or the groomer. I love text message notifications. That like literally makes my life 10 times easier. Cause I'd be like, oh crap, I forgot, but at least I got an hour, 2 hour, a day before warning. Right. And then now it's professionalism.
It instills confidence, right? You know exactly what's happening, when it's happening. You have a time frame. Like, you're not just sitting there wondering, oh, do I have to be home at this time? Like, am I allowed to go run my errands at this time because I don't know when they're coming?
Have follow-ups, automations, and letting the people know what's going on and when it's going on.
Yeah, so we kind of talked out the psychological portion of it and like thinking through, but like if we want to touch on the technical aspects of it, right? Like the technical marketing aspects, there's like 3 core things you really need to do to make sure you're creating that memorable experience for a homeowner. And one of those is like email and SMS sequences, like Evan is talking about, right? The other is retargeting those people. It's important to retarget them, to follow up with them, to follow them where they go when you've already worked with them, or they're going to go to the next person. And then the last one is like review generation. Those 3 things, if you don't have that somehow as a core component of your business right now, I'd say over the next few weeks, we're still early into 2026, as a business owner, if your mindset is that you care about your customers and you want to be able to grow and sustain and scale your business, you need to figure out a game plan to make sure you're incorporating those three things as repeatable systems in your business. So to kind of break down the email and SMS sequences a little bit more, I would say you have to be so systematized with it that you have triggers that go out to your customers based on their needs, right? Like, and you can start pretty simple. I don't want to overcomplicate it for anybody. If you don't have all the data as of yet, maybe you're still working on getting a CRM, maybe you're a smaller team, it's only you and a couple of your guys or girls that are operating in the business, that's totally fine. At a minimum, set up a 3, a 6, and a 12-month trigger for anybody who successfully books and completes a service with you. And what those triggers should be, it should be tips about maintenance, remarketing to them to perhaps incentivize them to book you again for whatever reason. And then another part of it can be just reminding them of how good of work you did, right? Like that's such a small thing that we don't think will make a difference to a homeowner. But if you can put them back in that headspace that they were in when they came home and saw like, oh my God, you did a fantastic job cleaning my driveway. You did a fantastic job installing my gutters or whatever it was that dazzled them in that moment. If you could put them back in that headspace, even if they don't need work from you at that time, maybe you're asking for a referral at that point. You're reminding them how good of it felt to work with you. And you're saying, do you know anybody else that needs to feel like this or needs this quality of service, right? And those are really simple. Those are 3 automated follow-ups that you could put, whether in email or in a SMS follow-up. And you don't have to think about it ever again. Every time you finish working on that, on any job that you do, now you have something that's staying in contact with that homeowner to help keep you top of mind. And I don't know if you want to touch on this a little bit more, Jacob, but like retargeting, right? Because we talk a lot about how customers, well, we see it a lot where people are investing into gaining the customer one time, but not really thinking about how they can reinvest that marketing to keep the customer thinking about them or keep the customer seeing them. So I don't know if you want to touch on retargeting a little bit.
Yeah, so I've actually worked with people who told me, Jacob, you guys are doing a great job generating the leads, but I don't want somebody I worked with in the past to see my ads ever again, because that might cost me a little bit of money. But at the same time, a homeowner gets so busy in their day-to-day, they have kids, they have a job, they have so much going on that a lot of times they might forget in the first place. So you want to stay at the top of mind and keep in mind also, right? Usually like something like Google, right? Somebody might click your ad, they might submit a form, and then they might go about their life, right? Maybe they're not ready to move forward at that time. If you actually show that ad to the same customer again, and if they did not see that ad, for example, and they see another person's ad, but they're ready to move forward, you just fully missed out on that opportunity. So the biggest thing is like when somebody's ready to go, you want to be there. So you don't want to miss out on any opportunity that presents itself. And that's why retargeting can be so important. Even like somebody that comes across your website, right, for the first time, there's a pixel on Facebook that can actually follow around and retarget that customer when they go on Facebook. And we all know on Facebook, the cost per clicks, cost per impressions are so low. Why not show them the ad, right? Because it's all about the consumer buying journey. And when they're ready to move forward, it's on their time. So you want to be there.
Yeah, as a customer too doesn't mean they're going to remember you, right? You don't have all this follow-ups, all these automations we're talking about, blah, 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 right? Somebody could not have any of these, right? Let's just ditch all that. Someone doesn't have all that, right? Yet and their just mindset is Facebook ads, generate leads. We have our own in-house thing. Okay, well, just because you generated that lead doesn't mean they're going to remember you once you're done with the job a week or two later. So yeah, I understand that they may see your ad again or click on it again, but what is pennies on the dollar, if that does happen for you to be constantly still in front of that person, right? So I see that. I understand that mindset, but at the same time, it's like, if anybody has that one, toss it out the door. It's Facebook, it's retargeting, it's rebranding, it's keeping your brand active in front of your local audience. So for the pennies on the dollar, any mindset like that, I would tell anybody to throw it out, just toss it.
And the companies that are winning right now are the ones that are not afraid to go all in on something like, advertising, right? They want every single customer that's in the market for their service at any means necessary, right? These are the guys breaking, $1 million. And that's the real difference, right? If you're everywhere to be found when somebody's searching, if somebody's interested, then you're winning, most of the time, because they have no other option but to choose you.
And the ad space is crowded. The ad space is crowded. The home service space can feel really crowded. But it's important to remember that if somebody can't remember your name, they don't know where to find you, they're going to go with your competition that is showing up for them. But you got to think that your average customer, your average homeowner, they are focused on convenience. Even if you did a really good job, but you haven't stayed top of mind, you're not easy to find. They don't remember your business name. You're not memorable in like even your branding. They are going to have no choice but to go with their competitor that is consistently investing into their business, consistently retargeting, or, staying top of mind on places like search engines, like social media platforms. So it is really important. But then the other portion too, what I touched on earlier with the reviews, right? That is probably one of your cheapest tools to creating a really memorable experience and to help yourself actually gain a new customer. And what do I mean by that? As a homeowner, if you're not getting a referral, you're probably looking for reviews, right? It's one thing to come across an ad of somebody or a social media post, or you go and find their website and they say they do good work, but you want to know from your peers, you want to know from your neighbors, you want to know, does this person or business do the work they say they do? What was your experience with them? And so a happy customer is going to be one of your best and cheapest marketing tools by making sure you get the review from them. And one thing I know, having worked on the client success side of things here at Mr. Pipeline, the one thing I know is the hardest thing sometimes is for a business owner to ask for that review. There's so many times where I was talking with home service business owners and we're talking about areas to improve. And we're so focused on how do we get my cost per click down? How do we get my cost per lead down? How do we get my conversion rates up so that more people are submitting leads? And then I start looking around and I'm like, wait, you've done all this good work.
And you got
your review, you've got 5 reviews and 3 of them have no words. 3 of them are just star ratings. Are you asking your happy customers for a review? Well, I get the feedback from them on site, or I'll text them and ask them. Ask them for the review. Send them that link to your Google business profile and ask them.
Or automated software.
Or use automated software. Here at Mr. Pipeline, our clients, we offer them a review generation tool that helps you to automate that process. If you're busy, you've got a small team, you've got a lot of things you're juggling, find a way to automate the review generation process. But do not forget about getting reviews. That is your social proof to future customers about why they should use you, right? Like, it takes down the time to making the sale, because now when they're picking up the phone to call you or submitting that lead form, they already kind of have an informed opinion about you and the work that your company does because they've read those happy client Google reviews. If you got 5 reviews and a bunch of them don't really have any words, or there's not much happening there, but your competition has 155-star reviews and a bunch of them are saying positive things, they're naming the text in the, Evan came out and he did an amazing job. He was great with communication. I should have used a different name because his head, can you see his head just like swelling right now? But like
real quick.
Those little things are magical to a homeowner that makes them say, okay, this is definitely the company that I want to go with. This is definitely the company that I want to do an inquiry with, right? Like that, those are the little things you've got to think about, and then how to automate those things in your business.
And again, this is for different size businesses. So anybody watching, there's a lot of stuff been talked. I know it's like, well, people are like, well, I can't afford that. I can't pay for that. Find what works for your business, where you're at within the market right now, where you're at within your budget. And if you can't hire third-party softwares or companies to do work for you, spend an extra hour a week or whatever it is to grow your business and figure something out. Be your own self-automated system if you need to at the end of every day. Yep. Rome wasn't built in a day. Grind and build. Now, for people that can afford automations and things like this, welcome to 2026. This is a technological based world, and it's only becoming more and more technologically advanced.
Something else that I wanted to bring up is a question that I kind of want to pose to the audience. If you're a business owner And whether you have a home service business or any other type of business, I'm curious to know, when was the last time you made contact with anybody that you serviced in the past year or so? How long has it been? Are you just finishing the service and then moving on and hoping that you'll get a new customer? Or like, are you reaching out to them? And when was the last time you reached out to all your customers?
And that's a good action plan, actually. Like, so for anyone listening that doesn't have a CRM, that doesn't track their customer database and constantly reach out, go to QuickBooks, go to wherever you send your invoices through, and reach out to everybody who hasn't had your service and within the last year, and just check up on them. A nice friendly message. You might never know what might happen. And that's free, right? That's not something that you have to pay for a lead. Like, that's already in your database. You already worked with them. Maybe they remember you, which would be great. And maybe you might get them on the books before things start to warm up. Especially when people have a little bit more free time, with this winter season going on. I know it's been harsh out there. So whatever you can to set yourself ahead and for success in 2026, there's so many opportunities out there. You just have to take advantage instead of making excuses. I think that's the biggest thing.
I'll tell you one thing that's warm. Everybody in the state of Florida.
Where Evan's background is right now.
Cold. It is. There's
I'm just in the island while everyone's digging out their driveways. Wow.
Listen, I was just in it.
Yeah, we go
there. North Florida was snowing, so like
it's done now. It's gone.
This close.
We actually had flurries down here. My buddy lives out in Waxahachie, and like 1 o'clock in the morning, he was out there with his flashlight, and you can see little flurries coming down. Very minor, but yeah.
And that's the thing. It might be freezing. Maybe it's negatives where you're at right now. But guess what? A month from now, things are going to start warming up. And, it's full steam ahead from there.
Use the downtime.
So just make sure you guys do whatever you can to set yourself up. Like, take care of your CRMs and automations before the busy season starts. Dial in your online presence. Get ahead of the curve when it comes to running advertisements. Like, to have a free conversation about something that's going to make you a better business owner and really systematize things this year. Why wait? That's my biggest question, So I think this was a great conversation. I think there was a lot of value to be taken from this. If there's any recommendations that you guys need, anything you guys want to talk about before the busy season, figure out where, you might be missing out on certain things. We're always here to help you guys. That's why we do this podcast in the first place. So don't hesitate to reach out. We'll give you a free audit of your online presence. We even have a website auditor on our website, mrpipeline.com. So you can send it in there. You'll get some free feedback, things to work on, action items. But thank you, Brittany, and thank you, Evan, so much for joining us today. I think that was another great podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Talk to you guys later.